Okay, good evening. This is Brother Wolf, and this is HS 285. This week we're continuing on with our group presentations. Last night, Group 6 presented on advocacy organizations. Tonight, we have Group 5 talking about professional organizations. I think it's really important for the class to kind of, when you're listening to one of these presentations, think of the other one as well. Because we're kind of comparing and contrasting the difference between advocacy organizations and professional organizations. You may recall when Group 1 presented on the AMA, I made a comment about the AMA as an example of a group that is professional, but it's also an example of a group that has some advocacy components. So it might be one that we would consider both. So as we're going through the rest of the course, think about three buckets. There's a bucket of groups, a bucket that represents the groups that are only professional, the bucket that represents groups that are only advocacy, and then there's that bucket that really is both advocacy and professional. So just kind of keep those three things in mind. And as you watched last night's recording, I focused on a few groups, and I kind of gave you the answers of keep these in mind. These are important groups to know. I don't want to steal any more thunder from Group 5, so I'm going to turn the time over to them, and I believe Tegan's going to start. Whenever you're ready, feel free to start.
Yeah, so as the brother said, we'll be talking about professional organizations. Go ahead and switch slides. And so what we're going to be talking about is the organizations that cover healthcare administrators, healthcare financial managers, physicians, ambulatory surgery center administrators, medical group practice administrators. So we're going to go through each of those and who represents them and certifies them. So next slide, please. Okay, so our first one is for the healthcare administrators. It's the American College of Healthcare Executives. So there's their picture there. So switch slides there. So this is the mission statement and the vision of them, of that professional organization. So as you can see, the vision: to be the premier professional society for healthcare executives dedicated to improving healthcare delivery. And then their mission statement is to advance our members and healthcare management excellence. Next slide. Okay, so this breaks down, this slide here breaks down what it represents. It's based in Chicago, and how they organize it is in chapters, is how they classified it, where the members will participate with their peers in the career-enhancing skills. And each state has that elected regent. And this is the foremost professional organization for healthcare executives. Go ahead, next slide. Next slide. Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay, so healthcare financial managers. This is going to be the Healthcare Financial Management Association. Next slide there. So the mission statement is, so their vision and mission, it says it will bring value to the industry as the leading organization for healthcare finance. And the mission statement for them is leading the financial management of healthcare. And one thing to note that you'll find, and I found interesting in each of these, is how they had this goal and vision for each of them. And so just take to note their vision and goal and the importance of that. Next slide. So, like stated, it's the leading organization for the finance management for both the leaders and executives. Right now it has over 37,000 members, and their focus is on the top trends and issues facing industry within healthcare, the healthcare industry. Next slide. Now we'll go to physicians. This is the American Medical Association, and their mission statement. So next slide. It says to promote the art and science of medicine and the betterment of public health. And this was a quote that I really like. It says, AMA will build on its legacy of leading physician ethics, setting standards for medical education, and advancing the medical science to serve as the premier voice for the core values of the medical profession. So that's for physicians. Some more on that on the next slide. So the AMA represents medical doctors, osteopathic physicians. They're a powerful lobbying group for federal and local medical issues. And they represent less than 30% of the American physicians, is what I found on their website. Next slide, please. Okay, so we got the ambulatory surgery, the surgery center administrators. I went on and found their website for the Certified Administrator Surgery Center, the CASC. I researched and on their website, and it was a really interesting website that I found for them. We can go to the next slide, it talks about, are we on the, it says certified ministry with the bullet points, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this center, so it's earned as a distinction recognition for their special skill set and focuses on the roles and responsibilities in the surgical centers there and for surgery. And the Board of Ambulatory Surgery Certification is the organization that administers the exam for the certification. And one fact that I liked and they have on their website says those with this certification in this professional organization will make 19% more than a non-certified administrator. So that is something I thought was really interesting there. If we go to the next slide, will be the medical group practice administrators. And so this professional group is the Medical Group Management Association. So there's their logo. Go to the next slide. We have their mission and vision. And their mission to elevate performance of medical practice leaders and their organizations by connecting members, building partnerships, setting standards for certification, advocating for physician practice, and providing innovative solutions. Their vision is to be the foremost resource for members and their organizations in creating and improving systems that complement the delivery of affordable, quality patient care. I thought that was a great vision for that medical group, the Management Association there. We go to the next slide. That has their certification for medical group practice administrators. And what it does, it provides essential education, legislative information, and the data career sources for improvement of patient services and the efficiency of operations within the practice. So this is an important one to make sure everything runs smooth within the medical field. And the next slide shows the sources that those came from. And that is a little bit about just the professional structure, and we'll go on into more detail with some more professional structures. So turn the time over to Jenny now.
Okay, so the American Association of Medical Assistants, their mission is to help medical assistants obtain education, certification, networking opportunities, and scope of practice protection. Members also receive benefits such as a medical assisting magazine subscription, certification exam discounts, and access to volunteer opportunities. The American Registry of Medical Assistants is a national registry of medical assistants with members in every state, and the goal of that organization is to advance the level of status and professionalism of medical assistants. American Health Information Management Association. This association currently has more than 71,000 members and was founded in 1928. Its goal is to increase the implementation and standards of electronic health records, and they offer several certifications including Registered Health Information Administrator, Certified Documentation Improvement Practitioner, and Certified Coding Specialist. Then we go to the American Academy of Professional Coders. They are focused on education of medical coders from certifications to continuing education opportunities. And their certifications include Certified Professional Biller, a Certified Professional Medical Auditor, and a Certified Professional Coder. The Healthcare Information and Management Systems Society, they aim to make improved healthcare through information technology, and their members have access to professional resources, job postings, networking opportunities, and discounts on educational events and publications. So then the American Society for Phlebotomy Technicians, they provide certification and continuing education opportunities for phlebotomists, and the certification exam is updated yearly by the phlebotomy instructors. Professional organizations for pharmacy, there's two of them right here. The National Association of Boards of Pharmacy, which was founded in 1904 as a way to progress health and safety via the pharmacist assessments. And their association offers a variety of education and networking opportunities for pharmacists and pharmacy technicians as well. Then you also have the National Pharmacy Technician Association, and it is the largest healthcare organization specifically for pharmacy technicians. They aim to help others appreciate the value of pharmacy technicians, and the members receive a bi-monthly magazine, a monthly newsletter, and they also give them help with continuing education opportunities. These are professional organizations that are geared specifically towards medical lab techs. The American Society for Clinical Laboratory Science, and they believe that laboratory medicine is crucial to healthcare, so they are an advocate for laboratory quality and promoting diversity in the field. They also assist students, seasoned professionals, and new professionals with online education and career assistance. These ones are organizations for surgical technicians. So you have the Association of Surgical Technologists, and their goal is to help surgical technologists attain skills to help their patients. And they also host educator events, state assemblies, and advocate for public policy change. Then there's the National Board of Surgical Technology and Surgical Assisting. They focus on the certification of surgical technologists and first assistants, but their board tests are both practical and theoretical knowledge of medical professionals and requires continuing education to stay up to date. Trade associations. A trade association is an organization that is founded and funded by businesses that operate in a specific industry. Their goal is to promote a common interest. One of the main ones that that I looked at was the Healthcare Supply Chain Association, and this one consists of 14 group purchasing organizations, and it's a combination of for-profit and non-profit healthcare systems. The group purchasing organizations allow healthcare providers to save and be more efficient by increasing their purchasing volume. So basically what they do is they can work with a wholesaler or manufacturer and negotiate discounts for the entire group, and in the end can get a better deal for 14 groups than they would have been able to get for one group by themselves. So what is a trade association? They create a mutual benefit to all parties involved in the organization. They are funded by contributions that the member companies pay, and they also offer an enhanced public image to the industry as a whole. They are a nonprofit organization. They allow companies to work together for the common good and the common concerns, and they set the standards that members must follow and abide by in order to stay in the trade association. Specifically here in the United States, their goal is to influence public policy to be favorable to the group's goals. Oh, sorry, and that's it.
You guys did. That's a really great job. If you'd keep your slides up, I want to refer to a couple of them. You guys presented a lot of great information. You actually kind of gone above and beyond what you really had to do, so I appreciate that. Um, and I just wanted to highlight some of them. So you presented a lot of information. I don't want everyone to feel like you have to memorize all of these. So I'd like to just point out a few that I think are important for this class. You know, this class is an introduction to healthcare administration. So all of the things you've pointed out are things that you could spend a career in, and you really hit on that with each professional organization is geared towards individuals who are in that profession. So you could spend a lot of time on these, but the main ones that I want you to know for this class are the first one that you showed, which was the ACHE, the American College of Healthcare Executives, and you hit it right on the head. That's kind of the premier professional organization for individuals who are in healthcare management and really kind of the executive level. So, you know, if you work at a hospital or a health system, most of your executives are probably going to belong to this organization. So it's a good one to know about. So know this one, ACHE, and what it stands for, and kind of what it takes to be a member, and that they're a professional organization. The next one that you did, I think, was HFMA. Yep, and that's a really important one to know as well. So this is the Healthcare Financial Management Association. Your CFOs, your accounting folks, they're really going to focus on this area. And it, too, is a professional organization. So know that one. And then I think, was AMA your third one? Yeah. So AMA, it truly is, you are accurate. It is a professional organization, but for this class, I want you to think of it as both professional and an advocacy. Mainly, and I mentioned this in last night's recording for advocacy organizations. There's not always a nice bright line that says it's this or that. So it's not wrong to say it's a professional organization, but for this class, I kind of want you to think about it as both professional and advocacy. And if you watch last night's recording, you'll understand a little bit more why I say that. Your third one, I think, was the ASC group, right? Or, I'm sorry, fourth. Excuse me, lost count. Yeah, this is also a good one to know. Go back to the last slide. Yeah, the ambulatory surgery center administrators. So what you have up here is for the certification, right?
Yeah.
But the group, I believe, is known as ASCA. So you might get asked that question. What does that stand for? And it's an interesting one. It can be argued that it's a professional society, and for sure, let's say you work in an ambulatory surgery center and you want to be an administrator, right? You are an administrator. This is really the society you're going to belong to. So it is a professional society in that regard. And then the other one I wanted to point out is the ANA, the American Nursing Association. I'm not sure. I talked about it in last night's group. That one I'm going to consider both. It's a professional society for the nurses, and the key factor for a professional society is that, you know, it's advocating for that profession. There's usually some sort of certification or some sort of quality that group will recognize in individuals that have achieved a certain level of quality in that profession, and they usually will have continuing education units or some sort of way of continually being educated in your field and maintaining a certification. This group that you have up here now is also a very important one, MGMA. So this is the group that will be for, you know, a medical group practice. So these are usually physician practices, right? That's what they are. And this is a very important group to know as well. So I think those are the main ones that I want you to know for the class. I'm really impressed that you guys then went on with these. Show me your next slide. Or the next group. Yeah. Okay. So you really went above and beyond, and you pointed out a lot of really great societies here. I don't want you to feel like you have to memorize these, though, for this class. It's great information, though. So I appreciate you sharing it, but don't feel overwhelmed with needing to know a lot of the detail in these others, at least for this class. But it's good to know that these are out there, because if you're interested in these kinds of professions, it's good to know, and it's good to look at them. And a lot of these professional societies will have student membership, which, if as a full-time student, you can usually you can become a member for free. Usually, some they vary. Each group might have a different take on that, but and there's a lot of great benefits. You start early networking. They usually have job postings. You can see what kinds of things are usually required in that field. What kind of things the expectations are, and the news. Just kind of what's the news in that area. I was impressed that you came up with. Show me your American Academy of Professional Coders. I actually have my certification from this. I have one certification, two actually, from this group. The CPC, and there's another one. They have a whole bunch. You kind of hit the main ones here. There's one that's for outpatient hospital coding that I have as well. And then the slide before this, AHIMA, I think, yeah, your AHIMA. This is a really important group when it comes to kind of medical records, and also they do a different kind of coding, generally speaking. So I was impressed that you came up with those. There's another one that I'm involved in that's pretty specialized. It's called the Healthcare Compliance Association. So I'm a compliance officer, and it's kind of a mix between laws and regulations in the medical field. So not one that you have to know for this class, but just wanted to let you know that there's a whole bunch more organizations, right? But people who are interested in kind of the compliance field and the regulatory requirements, there's one for that as well. Great job. And then as you kind of came towards the end of the presentation, you talked about trade organizations. And for our course, this one that you have listed here is an important one to know, and I am going to categorize this. You're absolutely correct. It is a trade organization. We're going to put it in the bucket of an advocacy organization. So what the group 6 presented last night. And the reason I'm going to tell you, I'm kind of simplifying things, but they really advocate for this industry. I think it may have been your next slide. Yeah, they also offer, you're talking about trade associations in general, but your very last bullet, they also offer an enhanced public image to the industry as a whole. So, and that's a good characteristic not just of a trade association, but of an advocacy group. So think of the other advocacy groups we've talked about in the course, the AHA, the American Hospital Association, the FAH, the Federation of American Hospitals. A lot of people would call those trade associations. We're going to use the term as well, advocacy organization, because they're advocating on behalf of an industry. It's not really a profession, right? A hospital is not a profession. It's an entity, and the hospital organizations come together to kind of advocate for their industry as a whole. So, excellent work. I'm going to see if your classmates have any questions. Feel free to either unmute your microphone if you have any, or you can enter them in the chat box over on the right. Just give a moment to them, and if they don't, that's fine as well. But you guys did an excellent job. Jenny or Tegan, do you have any last-minute comments or questions or thoughts or overall feelings about this? Did you know most of this stuff? What was new to you? What was not new?
A lot of it was new. Just studying it in detail. I've never seen it before, and so it was cool to see their professional goals.
Yeah, and I think I think this is a really useful presentation. Yes, we're trying to teach you things, and there's test questions from this, and that's what I've tried to highlight in what I've been sharing with you. But I think this is a really great presentation just as if you're considering working in one of these areas, because knowing that there's an organization that represents you as a professional is really a great place to start to learn about, okay, what are career options? is this something that I'm really interested in or not? It's a great way to explore. So I'm glad you put this one together. Jenny, did you have any last-minute comments or questions?
No, it was all kind of new when I was looking it up, so I found it pretty interesting as I was researching. So
Yeah, I really liked your approach as a group because you kind of hit executives, then you hit doctors, and then you hit group practice and ASCs, and then you hit kind of all of these other groups that are really important in healthcare, right? Medical records, coding, pharmacy. You kind of hit all surgery techs, all of these other groups that are important in healthcare overall on the healthcare team. So, nice job. Thank you for your work. I'll let everyone go unless there's any. I didn't see any questions come in. So, thanks again and have a great night.
thank you.